Colorado Springs is surrounded by literal fire. Let's take a look at the news this week. There are a couple of very recent fire developments in Park and Teller counties. So that whole Florissant Divide area, I think Florissant itself is evacuated. And then east of Colorado Springs, like 45 minutes to an hour, I think, Simla is, actually, it might be more than that, is also on fire. The residents of Simla have all been evacuated. So I don't know what the cause of these fires are, but I mean, it's very dry and windy here in Colorado. We've been on alert for like a week or two. We've been on alert for like all of our lives. Like every summer, it's this way. It's very windy, it's very dry, and so because we have a lot of forest, and even if we don't, even the brush fires out east, you still get fires. So it's just commonplace here. The air quality is pretty poor when that happens, and so you'll see the smoke, you'll just see it's darker. The air's just got smoke in it, and you're like, "What is it?" Just yeah, you can taste it. And so I wore a mask last year for when that happened. So it was yeah, I wanted to go on a run, but or go on a jog, but just the air quality wasn't great, so you wear a mask. Change your furnace filter. Also, make sure you've got a higher quality furnace filter that can filter out the smoke when you're out here, and make sure your furnace can handle a higher quality air filter. This leads into the next news segment, which is 2424 Garden of the Gods Road. And if you've lived here long enough, you know exactly what I'm talking about then, which is that apartment unit developer who wanted to put in a 420 unit apartment complex on 2424 Garden of the Gods Road was shut down. City council and especially the residents who lived there said, no, don't do that. Like, we had to evacuate during Waldo Canyon fire in 2012. It took 5 hours. We know that it's a nightmare already. And if you increase residents who live on the west side, is not an adequate fire escape route or, a way for people to evacuate safely and in a timely fashion. So you can't add more units there. So the developer said, well, what about 320 units? And everybody went, no, dude, like that doesn't solve anything. And so this guy apparently rescinded or withdrew his application because the city council was going to vote on it this week and deny it again. But he withdrew the application, and I watched the beginning part in the city council where they're trying to decide, and Bill Murray is one of the city council people, is trying to determine, like, okay, he's officially withdrawing his application. It's not like it's going to be looked at later, because yeah, he knows, and I know, and anybody who's paying attention to this knows that the developer, the reason he withdrew his application was not because he's done, like, oh, the residents have spoken, I'm not going to build here. It's because he spent money on buying that piece of land. He's not going to give up. So what he's doing is he's waiting until city council has switched out, because we're voting on 3 new city council members this year, like in a week, as well as a new mayor. So once there's 3 new city council members, that developer is going to resubmit that application. They're going to have to go through that whole process all over again. But he's doing that because maybe the change, maybe they'll, allow it or something. You still have to go up against the residents on that west side of town, and they're not having it. So that's what we're fighting against I mean, there's plenty of affordable housing units and developers that are creating things just anyway in other areas, but this one in particular is really the Colorado Springs residents, at least the ones that live on that side, because they have to deal with it, are not happy about it. They don't want it, and it takes away from the view. It's just one more big, tall thing that's going to be in the way of the mountain. No, thank you. But wait, we also have a secret business that's coming to Colorado Springs. It's so secret that they have a code name for it. It's called Project Jade, and it's an undisclosed veteran-owned business that provides shared access to secure facilities. It plans to spend $33 million over 4 years to expand into Colorado Springs. It's expected to create almost 70 high paying permanent jobs and bring in almost $1 million of new revenue to the city. So they're not saying what it is. They're just going to bring this before city council. I don't know. I'm assuming city council is going to know what this business is exactly. It's something to do with government top secrets, whatever. DOD, DOJ, maybe. But so they've got a commercial space that's already existing that they're going to take over, a 60,000 square foot space. But yeah, it's a secret business that's going to come to Colorado Springs, and I'm assuming city council would approve it. I'll see why they wouldn't. Breaking news as of this morning. So, we're talking about 2424 Garden of the Gods with about 320 units, plus this secret company that's going to come to Colorado Springs. Well, guess what? Both of those stories merged as of this morning. So before I put this video out, I was going to release it yesterday, but I'm glad that I looked at this. So, plans include 71 jobs and space at 2424 Garden of the Gods. So when that developer withdrew their application, this company is taking that spot. That developer's out. Like I'm in shock. Like I take it back what I was saying about the developer. They're going to wait for a new city council. Like nope, none of that happened. This is what's actually happening is this company, aerospace engineering and analysis firm Intuitive, has announced a Colorado Springs expansion that's expected to create 71 new high-wage jobs. So this company, which was previously as of yesterday unknown to the public, is now, this is the name, Intuitive, and it's going to be in that spot where that 320 residential units was going to be. So 71 jobs, yeah, that's way better than, I mean, that's 71 people that still have to live there, right? But they're not creating more housing. So I think this is a much better alternative. So Intuitive joins a growing number of companies in the electronics and aerospace and defense industries, including BlueStack, Zavaro, and Integris. Integris was the one that's having another 400 jobs here in the next few years. So yeah, they've chosen Colorado Springs for expansion since December, and then Microchip announced an $880 million expansion to Colorado Springs, and that's going to add another 1,300 jobs for that. So I had talked about that previously, but again, this is all growth for Colorado Springs in the defense industry. So headquartered in Huntsville, Alabama. That's where Intuitive is. That's interesting. Currently has 3 employees in Colorado, so they're already here a little bit, but now they're really growing. So I had looked further down in the article earlier that Intuitive had also considered Cape Canaveral, Florida, for their expansion, but they chose Colorado Springs. In this article, they talk about how Donald Trump at the last minute decided to move Space Command to Huntsville. And so there's a little bit of talk in there. There's nothing concrete. It's just, some talking about it. But now we know what that secret company was, and now we know that residential housing thing is finally, after months of, it was like an STD, it just wouldn't go away, and it's finally gone, and now there's a commercial company in its place. Isn't that great? Colorado Springs has a new city ordinance that got passed last month, and this affects anybody that owns any property or anything, land with property on it. This is affecting people in the sense the specific rules that this include, or that this will include. It's going to be the number of parking spots you can have, the number of trees you can plant, how far or how far set back your deck has to be. I'm assuming driveways are going to be a part of that. Any uh, temporary garage structures that you want to put up to have a covered parking spot, probably going to affect that too. If you want to know more about what is entailed in this city plan or the new city zoning ordinance, Plan COS or Retool COS is what you want to look up. So right now I'm looking at the 66 final plan project. And so the summary here, and this is the new vision for the future of Colorado Springs. So for just redevelopment for new structures, new buildings, new residential stuff. The priorities, these are the priorities as part of the plan COS. They're going expanded opportunities for affordable, attainable housing in multifamily and commercial zone districts. Tools that support higher quality and more dense greenfield development. A stronger focus on multimodal transportation and high quality design. More flexible tools and processes for infill development, standards to enhance connectivity and support increased walkability, expanded opportunities for walkable civic, retail, and community gathering places in activity centers throughout the city, and more effective tools to accommodate and incentivize mixed use development. So I said this in a prior video that zoning, mixed use development, apartments, multifamily housing, this is a large part of what Colorado Springs, the city, the mayor, the city council is trying to do and trying to craft this vision for the future of Colorado Springs that includes more affordable housing options, as a lot of people have been asking for more affordable housing. So the city is trying to accommodate that as well as grow and just be a more attractive environment, not just for new people, but for the people who already live here. So to make sure that our parks are well kept. To make sure that we have, as it says, expanded opportunities for walkable civic retail and community gathering places. We used to have those. They were called shopping malls. We had two of those. And so as the shopping mall died out, because as the creator of the shopping mall had envisioned that these would be places of community, of gathering, of togetherness, and they just turned into consumerism. So the idea of the shopping mall as it was originally envisioned was to be this meeting gathering place. So as our city is trying to improve that aspect of our city, to improve retail. I didn't know we needed to improve that, but also to improve the walkability. So bikes, pedestrians, to improve the bike lanes for that sort of thing, and just to make Colorado Springs a more uh, beautiful city to walk in, to have that space to do the walking. And to add to what Colorado Springs is doing in and of itself, you've also got Governor Polis, who has this housing plan to loosen the zoning regulations to create more affordable housing
Homes
for
has been
Colorado.
coming down in recent weeks, but affordable housing remains well out of reach for many Colorado families.
Now, Governor Polis is supporting a new bill, one that will make it easier for developers to be part of the solution. So just what does that entail? Good evening.
Yeah, what does that entail?
And I'm Bart Bedsole. Thanks for making us your choice for news at 10. Tonight,
Okay,
Governor
skip that.
Polis is
Nope,
advocating for
nope, 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 nope. Okay, under SB 23-213, developers in large metro cities would be able to build multifamily homes with fewer barriers. However, the bill doesn't require the cities or developers to do so. Okay, we're 12,000 units short here in Colorado Springs, 14,000 in the county. Yeah. That is leading to not being able to hire, recruit, retain teachers, firefighters, our service industry, people across the spectrum. If we don't have the working force housing available, how are you going to have the workforce here to sustain all the white collar jobs that are being brought in? That's true. Will this bill be effective and efficient? I don't know. Is anybody actually talking about this?
affordable housing in our state.
If passed, the bill would loosen building regulations to allow for denser building projects in large metro areas like Colorado Springs. KRDO News Channel 13's Annabelle
That's
Childers
just allowing for
is
it.
live at the Mosaic
So, like I said, it's not
neighborhood to
telling
explain
them
how
that
this
they
could
have to
impact
do
our
it. It's
city.
just making
Annabelle.
it easier for them to do it. So this is the text for that bill, SB 23-213. So you can see, this is, I'm not going to read all this, but you can read this if you want to see exactly what the bill is going to entail, statewide. and it's introduced. It hasn't actually been approved, but the basics of how it's going to affect us, from what I understand, is that it allows for multifamily is going to have fewer hoops to go through. And to add to that idea of affordable housing, you've also got the mayoral candidates, three of which apparently have received donations or received money from developers, housing developers. And there's an uproar from people who are like, "Oh my God, Wayne Williams, Sally Clark are just, they're bought by developers." Like, yeah, they're receiving money from developers because the developers like these people, and these people seem to want to help the developers, and it seems to be a win-win because more housing, right? But if you don't want more housing, then I guess it's not a win-win. So Wayne Williams, you can read this. That's why I'm on it. But it's brought on. I mean, the Gazette released this, but basically, even before the Gazette, people were talking about Wayne Williams getting money from Norwood. Sally Clark is getting money from another development group, and then further on down in the article here, they also mention. So it's Wayne Williams, Sally Clark, and Yemi Mobolade, and they are all receiving money from developers, construction companies, and real estate agents, as the amount raised by candidates has soared into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, again, this doesn't mean for me necessarily that I want to not vote for them, because I do want some affordable housing. I just want it to be thought through also, and not just accepted willy-nilly and put it wherever you want to. Do have a city that we want to keep nice, and we want to have our views, and we just want to be thoughtful and adding housing on. And I feel like we can do that around the city without necessarily having to do it within the city. But anyway, so to have these three candidates who are being endorsed by housing developers who are getting money from them, I'm like, I don't really see that being a bad thing unless they end up succumbing to the wishes of the developers against the wishes of the people. And that is just a risk with everybody, isn't it? So it doesn't matter if I vote for somebody else because they've got some other agendas in mind that maybe aren't mine either. So, and then how many of these people have experience? But I didn't necessarily want to talk about my opinions of all these candidates. I just wanted to bring up the fact that housing does play a role here in Colorado Springs. And oh, here we go. Clark has received more than actually, yeah, Williams has received 255,000 so far from Colorado Springs Forward, a group that does not have to disclose its donors. Williams has seen more than 225,000 come in from developers or those with construction interests during the election, with the largest donations coming from Doug Stimple, CEO of developer Classic Homes, who has donated $52,000 to Williams' campaign. I feel like that's a modest sum for what Classic Homes churns out. But I mean, yeah, still is, yeah, I'm not going to say no to that kind of money if I received it. The Housing and Building Association of Colorado Political Action Committee, which has donated 50,000, and Schmidt Construction Inc., a paving and asphalt contractor, has donated 20,000 to Williams. Clark has received more than 240,000 from developers or donors with construction interest. Her largest donors include 100,000 from the O'Neill Group, 110,000 in total from Ron Johnson, CEO of Central Bancorp, 25,000 from Tartan Partners, and 10,000 from La Plata Communities. Mabolade, a political newcomer and one of the top three fundraisers, has received more than 55,000 from developers. 10,000 from High Valley Land Company, 21,700 from Susan Patty, a partner in the redevelopment of the Union Printer's home, and $10,050 total. $10,050, just throw in that 50. From Kevin Butcher, owner of commercial real estate company Strata Group. Okay. You also got some Mobilade funding from Jackson Engineering and Maintenance, a military-grade engineering firm, a business development support company, and a Rocky Mountain soap market. Norwood weighs in. Oh, Norwood. This is the one that gave Williams all the money. Promoted its preferred slate of selected candidates in an email soliciting donations for Williams and others. The mayor's race is in a dogfight with 3 or 4 of the 12 running. It is absolutely imperative that we support and elect Wayne Williams as our next mayor, Norwood founder David Jenkins wrote in the email. Oh, yes, this comes into play too, because this is also part of our recent news. Williams supported the 128% water rule that has already blocked a large property that would compete with banning Lewis Ranch from annexing, although it is not the rule that Norwood originally told John Mayer Suthers that the company wanted to put on a ballot for voters to approve. So there's an example of how they're not necessarily doing exactly what Norwood wants currently. Don't know how that's going to be for the future. You decide. But I think it's important that this information be out there and you be aware of it so that you know if you're for more affordable housing here or not. That's where those 3 candidates lie, or among their other things, their other agendas or policies. One of their big ones is going to be affordable housing. And D11 in Colorado Springs has a teacher shortage, but no surprise because everybody has a teacher shortage, right? So this particular school district, my son's in, so this one's of particular interest to me, but it's also a big school district within Colorado Springs. And again, there are a lot of shortages of teachers. Colorado Springs also has a shortage of police officers. We're 70 short. We're short of El Paso County workers. We're short in quite a number of jobs, but teachers is a big one right now. And as I saw a teacher on TikTok with his video, and he just had a diagram of how many what different kinds of parents and kids that you're going to come across in your schools as a teacher. And up until he said about 2015, it was one way where you would have a certain number of well involved parents, a larger number of parents who were just too busy. I mean, they were there, but they just weren't really involved with the school because they just didn't have time for it. A smaller number of parents who were just not at all involved in anything, couldn't get a hold of them. And then you had a few kids who were great kids. You had 1 or 2 who were really awful, bopping off the walls, cussing at you, throwing stuff at you. And now he says that's changed, where instead of those 1 or 2 kids, you get like 9 or 10 of those. You get a whole bunch more of those, and then you have different dynamics. But it's changed enough to where teachers really don't. It's not worth it. The pay is certainly not worth it, and the amount of crap that they have to go through, the amount of flack that they're getting from the students too, but also the parents, and then from their supervisors telling them like, oh, you're not doing a good enough job, or they're just expecting all of this of you to just be this octopus with 8 arms and to be able to work these long hours with just no support system and certainly no money to be able to live your life. You don't have any assistance, and there's not enough school assistance. So how that looks in Colorado Springs, and that I've seen, is like you've got teachers there. They're overwhelmed, they're overworked, but they have a smile on their face, and they're happy to see those kids because they love their job. That's why they're still there. They're not doing it for the money, clearly. So I don't know how to. That's just the news to me, is that we have a teacher shortage in D11, and it was enough to hit the news. And there's just don't know what to do about that. Other than, I feel like the school system, at least here in America, seems like it's becoming more of a daycare than an actual school system. And I feel like the kids are not. eh, I don't want to say I feel like they're not learning as much. Those teachers are doing an amazing job. Our teachers are doing an amazing job at our school. I remember seeing videos of Finland and comparing how the school system is in Finland and how short the school day actually is over there. because it's unnecessary. There's only so much that you can teach them, and then that's it. They don't need this entire day. So in America, we treat the school system like a daycare because I have to be at work and I can't watch my kid, so they have to be in school all day. And I think that's really unfortunate. And I wish there was more of a village community that we had. But this, I just could not believe. This is not my school. He doesn't go to a middle school, but just watch this.
A District 11 middle school teacher accused of being involved in a white supremacist group has been placed on leave.
Today we learned the decision made by the school board came less than 24 hours after our original report last Thursday. KRDO News Channel 13 Spencer Soysher joins us live from North Middle School, where Andrew Stutz teaches with the update. Spencer.
Bart and Heather, it's spring break for kids in District 11, so even if school were in session today, though, Andrew Stutz would not be here. Now the question looms, will Stutz be teaching kids after spring break? Andrew Stutz, a 7th grade science teacher at North Middle School.
So he's got a beard now. He doesn't look like that anymore. They'll film him in a second. Oh, there he goes. He looks the exact same. Just put a beard on.
It was made last summer, but only recently came to light. A message identifying Stutz as a leader for the group here in Colorado. The vice president of the District 11 School Board, Jason Jorgensen, says the Board of Education made the decision on Friday, just hours after we asked Stutz about his connection to the Asatru Folk Assembly, a group that several watchdog organizations have identified as promoting white supremacy. Any message to parents who might be concerned that their teacher may be a white supremacist or has white supremacist views? Do you?
I'm a good person. I think my actions speak for themselves. I have a very, very good, solid record as a citizen.
The Anti-Defamation League calls the AFA an extremist
I've already seen this, so I'm
saying,
already.
Quote, emphasizes white identity, claiming white ethnic Europeans are superior to other races, and proclaims the need to protect the pure white race from extinction. We asked Stutz our questions outside the Iron Forge Martial Arts Center, where he's a judo instructor. Do you confirm or deny you're affiliated with this group or no?
Okay, no comment.
Now, Stutz information has been scrubbed from the Iron Forge Martial Arts website, where
he's not going to out himself.
Instructor. Tonight,
he can't say it. He can't say it. He's not going to say it. It's on the website. Okay. So, like, it's on the website. Like, I would be like, okay, he can believe whatever he wants. That's fine. It's freedom. You know, it's America, right? D11 also has the freedom to fire him. Colorado is an at-will state. They can fire him for this if they want. If they don't like that, like, oh, we don't like that you're associated with that, they can do whatever they want. So they're just as free to do that. And he is just as free to have his beliefs. It's just like, okay, if you actually hold those beliefs that you believe that white people are superior to any other race and that they should rule the country, like, that's on the website of the group that he's affiliated with. Like, no, dude. Like, I would never be a part of a group knowing that they believe in that. And, like, then they confront him on it. Like, are you a part of this group? Like, no comment. Like, dude, if you're not a part of that group, all you had to do was say no. Like, so we already know. And he knows. But we know that he knows. And he knows that we know that he knows. You know, it's just, I wouldn't feel comfortable with that. And D11 rightly feels the same way. So I don't know what they're going to do with this. When it came out, I was just like, I mean, this is Colorado Springs. I get that the city is a bit more conservative than the rest of the state. I feel that if you are a part of a group that feels that white people need to be better, and you want to defend that guy, I mean, maybe you don't understand what has been going on with minorities. Maybe read The Color of Law by Richard Rothstein for a start. That'd be a great book. But, I mean, not understanding, like, yeah, it's not about all lives matter. If you're saying all lives matter, you don't understand what Black people have had to go through for generations. And so to have this person just kind of gloss over that or not think about that and just be a part of a group that says, I want to be, you know, that believes in something like that. I rightfully feel like I don't feel comfortable with my son being taught by that person because that's a role model, is their teacher. So you can debate me in the comments if you want below. I realize it's supposed to be news, but that part was definitely news. In case you weren't aware, the military bases will have a ban on businesses that they don't want their cadets or their service personnel from visiting. So in the case of Fort Carson, the new thing came out that just has the updated list of businesses that they're not allowed to go to. There's some bars and clubs, but then there's also a massage parlor in here as well. The mansion is on here if you go downtown on Tejon. I mean, it's been a long time since I've been to downtown in general. But even I've been to downtown, but to like drink. Oh God, what horrible days. So yeah, there's a few places down here: Knucklehead Tavern, Latin Quarters. They interviewed Latin Quarters in the video up here. New Havana Grill and Bar, Paradise Nightclub and Restaurant, The Mansion, Woody's Bar, Sugar Tree Massage, and a Better Self Storage in Fountain. So you can't go to a storage facility, but for some reason, I don't know what it is. But this is to prevent service members from being exposed to locations where crimes regularly occur or environments that could potentially jeopardize their health or welfare. So if you're wondering, like, hey, where are the not so safe places to go to? This is what Fort Carson is telling their people. Hey, don't go to these places. So I'm just saying that was interesting. And then as far as crime statistics, I've been paying attention for the week to what's been going on crime-wise in Colorado Springs. So just to give you like a general, if you don't live here, or even if you do live here, you might not know about some of this, but because there's so many people here, like that's just, you may not know about a certain thing happening. So like here, three suspects rob an East Colorado Springs business. And this is over on, the 7-Eleven on Barnes just east of Mark Shuffle. This one hit the local news big when it came out a few days ago. So there's a huge undercover bust of like 4,000 plus fentanyl pills. There was two or three people that lived in some house in Briargate, and they got them. So, um,
arrested in connection with an illegal drug operation in the Briargate area.
4,000 fentanyl pills, thousands of grams of meth and guns were seized by police. KRDO News Channel 13's
meth and guns and fentanyl. So they got them. Our police got them. So if you're thinking they're not doing anything, whoa, look at that. Big bust. This was a crash that happened almost a week ago, and this was on the north side, so Research Parkway and Channel Drive just west of Power. So single vehicle left the road and hit a tree, killed the driver. This one is one injured, one dead following a shooting at a Colorado Springs business. This one was on the 2700 block of Palmer Park, so Palmer Park and Circle. Heavy law enforcement presence in that shopping center. This one was crazy to me that we had a drive-by shooting in Colorado Springs. I'm like, that's something I hear about in Pueblo. I don't hear about that in Colorado Springs, but it was on Shelton, east side of Colorado Springs, Rocky Mountain Cycle Plaza, if you know where that is. But yeah, somebody just shooting out their window, or from their window. So, to have no real information beyond what that was, that's about it. One more. Two hospitalized after a shooting and stabbing in Flying Horse Sunday night. So this was, 4 days ago. And what is going on? It's in Flying Horse. Why is there a shooting and a stabbing? A man had been shot by a woman. The police report, the woman said it was accidental. She was incidental. It was accidental, while the man said it was not. I'm sorry. It's okay. This people got hurt. I was just like, that part was okay. Both people went to the hospital. A man with a gunshot wound to the chest, and the woman with various knife wounds. I'm not sure what that means. Being investigated as a domestic violence situation. Okay, so yeah, if you look on police blotters, crime maps, go on the internet, type in Colorado Springs crime map, and you'll get reports of like domestic violence disturbances where it's two individual people and it doesn't involve anybody else. It's just somebody had a spat or a dispute, and it's not involving more people. It's not a situation that's really going to be dangerous to somebody else. It got handled So that actually happens quite a bit more than you would think. But in this case, again, it made the news. And although nobody has any money and we're all living off of our cash out refinances, our HELOCs, and our credit cards, we still have enough money to buy an RV. So RV sales are starting to pick up despite a recent slowdown in the market. So as people don't spend money, or if they spend it, they're going to spend it online. Apparently, people are spending money on RV. They're not spending money on trips, but they're spending money on RVs because that is the trip. See, they're going to go and take that and drive it somewhere and go and have a much cheaper vacation, especially if they don't have to fly because, oh my God, getting an airplane ticket right now, that's a nightmare. Getting your passport right now, that's also a nightmare. So what are people going to do? They're going to drive cross country. That just makes so much sense. Like if you're a family and you got kids and you're like, I need to get out, but I also have to take them with me. Oh God. Well, here's the RV. That's the excellent choice. Makes sense. And this one is especially fun for me. When this came up, I was so excited. It's the oldest house in Colorado Springs. It's called the McAllister House. I've been here. I went on a tour here of this place. This place is fun. And I'm a real estate agent, so I'm not going to be...
honor to the oldest house in Colorado Springs later today.
Of course, I'm going to be into houses.
Significant for more than just its
but
age.
This is cool because it's a part of the history of Colorado Springs, where it's the first woman to drive a car lived in this house. Well, the first in Colorado Springs, the first woman to drive a car.
Of Colorado Springs.
Here, watch this.
Behind me, the McAllister House is the oldest house still standing in the city.
And you can see this for free.
Years ago, played a big role in shaping what our city was going to become.
Maybe it's a little bit of money.
We've got land certificates. We've got the early creation of Palmer Park.
This was once the home of Major Henry McAllister.
That's the old picture.
A close friend of city founder General William Palmer, and handpicked by Palmer to develop what was then known as Fountain Colony.
Eventually, all the weight of the success of the colony is sitting on Major McAllister's shoulders, and he's trying to think of every idea that he can to get the economy stimulated and to get people here.
It was under this roof that much of what we now know as Colorado
Springs. They show you all these rooms. They show you like each piece of furniture has a history.
College would have been discussed in the library in there. There is a door that accesses the back that was designed so somebody could ride their horse up really quick, hitch up their horse, sneak right in the back, sign some paper. They constructed an experimental garden, and that was to contribute to the economy of Colorado Springs by showing people an example of what you could do if you moved to Colorado Springs.
Oh, this is one of the daughter's bedrooms there.
Every room has a story to tell.
People like Helen Hunt Jackson and her husband, William Sharpless Jackson, would have dined here.
You had the very first woman in Colorado.
There she is. The very first woman to drive a car in Colorado Springs, and she was a pistol, from what I hear. And as soon as I heard about her and saw her picture, it was just like, oh, yes, I love it. But just that was what blew me away, was that when was this? 150 years ago, and the first woman to drive a car in Colorado Springs, and that was the height. Well, I mean, there's so many other things to learn. It's not just that, but I just remember feeling like, really, like people there's like, oh, how dare you drive a car? But just we're so far removed from that time frame. I was just aghast that you couldn't be allowed to drive a car. But I don't know enough about that time. I hear, the more I learn about it, the more I understand. Like, it was a very different time frame, and women were treated very differently than they are now.
To drive her own car, grow up.
Matilda McAllister.
As other houses from the early years of Colorado Springs were lost to age, as cars replaced horses, as the view from this window changed, the McAllister House still stands, becoming a museum in 1961.
It has really beat time, and it's very much the way that it looks.
There's no Disneyland rides on it or anything, so your kids are going to be bored to tears. But as an adult, it's fascinating. Like I said before, I'm a licensed real estate agent here in the state of Colorado. If you need any help buying or selling a property in the Colorado Springs area, let me know. If you have a comment on Governor Polis's housing proposal, it's going to allow allow for more duplexes, townhomes, and ADUs across different cities and towns throughout the state. How do you feel about that? Do you think that there's some viability to that? Do you think that encroaches upon local towns' rights? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, hit the like button, consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one.